Hey guys, welcome to the Tough Puff. It's Daniel speaking. Today we're going to talk about Night March, a deck that has been around since like November of last year when Phantom Forces was released. It's been a strong deck ever since then. It had a great showing at the World Championships, and I believe that it'll continue to be a strong deck, especially now that Hex Maniac has been released. The deck has more of a chance against Aegislash-EX, which was one of its worst walls to deal with. So now I think that this deck is fairly unstoppable, and that it'll be great for a while. So let's get into it. First we have 4 Joltik, 4 Pumpkaboo, and 4 Lampent is a standard for Night March, obviously, because you want to get your Night Marchers into the discard pile. The Night March attack says that this attack does 20 damage times the number of Pokemon in your discard pile that have the Night March attack. So that is very important. If you run any less than a 4/4/4 in a Night March deck, then it's probably not a very good Night March deck. Next we have 4 Pumpkaboo, standard. We have 4 Lampent, standard. Now here's where it gets a little weird. We have one Hawlucha. From Furious Fists. The reasoning for Hawlucha is that we play 2 Revives in the list. What Revive does is you take a Pokemon from your discard pile, put it right onto your bench. So say one of your Night Marchers gets knocked out, you send up the Hawlucha, and then you have 3 retreat, so you can play Revive, put a Night Marcher back onto your bench, and then retreat without having to get rid of a double colorless energy. This is very important because sometimes Night March gets stuck. They just can't retreat their active. They have to, Sky Return if it's a Shaman, or waste a switch, which you only have so many of. Back at the World Championships, each Night March list ran 1 Floatstone. This is essentially that 1 Floatstone, but since Floatstone's rotated, this is the next best thing because it's non-EX and it has free retreat. So that's Hawlucha. Next we have 1 Bunnelby. The reasoning for Bunnelby, it's kind of versatile to an extent. You have Rototiller, which is its main use. Shuffle a card from your discard pile into your deck, and it can attack twice. So what you'll do normally is you'll run out of DCEs because your Night Marchers are getting one-shotted by everything, and then you're not going to be able to attack. So you're going to say, okay, let's spend a turn using Rototiller, shuffle back in 2 DCEs, and we can get our last 2 attacks to pretty much end the game, because that's usually how it works. So you have that. You can shuffle in a VS Seeker. You can shuffle in Revive, stuff like that. So it's a very good card. Also, if your opponent is like running out of cards in their deck, or like their top card for some reason, that their top card is extremely important, you can Burrow, force them to discard the top card of their deck, so you can get them to deck out if they only have 2 cards left, or you can try and get rid of their vital resources. You have 1 Latios EX from Roaring Skies. Latios EX's Fast Raid wins you games against other Night March decks by being able to donk Joltik, which means not allowing your opponent a turn and winning on your first turn. It allows you to donk Vespiquen by knocking out Combi, knocking out Eevee, and low HP guys like that. Bunnelby with only 60 HP, Pumpkaboo with 60 HP. Fast Raid is just meant to say, hey, well, I don't want to play this game, so if I don't have to, then I won't. Let's just Fast Raid. Also, it's great to get that first turn attack the Night March can't get. So say you're playing as Manectric EX, you Fast Raid for 40, then next turn you only need 7 Night Marchers in your discard pile to get a knockout. So Latios EX is a solid card in Night March, and I think it's a great replacement for Mew EX. Next we have 3 Shaman EX. Shaman EX is pretty standard in Night March. 3 to 4 is what you would normally run. So now, excuse me guys, we're in a card store, people are kind of loud. We have 2 Sycamores. Usually you want 4 Sycamores in every deck. That's the standard count. But in Night March, we play Acrobike, we play Trainer's Mail, we play 3 Shaman, Ultra Ball. You're just burning through your deck so fast that that Sycamore is like one of those things that, like, hey, you know, we have it, it's cool, but we don't necessarily need it to its full count of 4. So this is one deck that that overrides that general rule. Next we have Hexmaniac. Hexmaniac is to shut off Mighty Shield, Aegis/EX's ability. It's to shut off opposing Night March and Vespiquen decks by not allowing them to use setup. Hexmaniac is just a card in Night March that I feel it's been needing, but it hasn't been able to use so far. Also, Hexmaniac guarantees that against Pyroar you shut off Intimidating Main. So people were running Goregeist and Big Pumpkin, that Goregeist, to counter Pyroar. They were running Evolutions inside of Night March for that. Now it's as simple as one supporter card. So next we have one Professor Birch's Observations. Professor Birch's Observations is like if you have 3 DCEs in your starting hand, 3 double colorless energies, and a Sycamore and a Birch. Instead of Sycamoring away your 3 DCEs, you have the option of shuffling your hand into your deck. This card you won't use very often, but it's only for situations like that where you'd rather shuffle your hand into your deck than discard valuable resources. In situations where Birch is prized, you also have Bunnelby to fall back on if you have to, you know, discard important stuff. Next we have a Teammates. Back in the day, you could have Mew EX on your bench, attack with a Joltik, it gets knocked out. You Dimension Valley, drop another Joltik, attach a Psychic Energy to Mew EX, and then you know, swing for 180 again. But nowadays, without Mew EX, we need Teammates, because if your Joltik gets knocked out, you can like promote Hawlucha, Teammates, search your deck for any 2 cards, get a double colorless energy and another attacker, and then, you know, get right back into it. Then we have one Lysander. Lysander is obviously an important card in every Pokemon deck, so we can't omit that in this deck. Next we have 4 VS Seeker. VS Seeker is standard at 4, but in this deck, since you're playing 4 Battle Compressor, VS Seeker is even better. You can get rid of Teammates, you can get rid of Hexmaniac with Battle Compressor, and then just VS Seeker for it first turn. So VS Seeker is like more of a valuable resource than something to just use to, you know, just grab a supporter whenever. It's definitely important that you watch your VS Seekers, you make sure you know how many you have left, and that you use them when you need to and not just because you can. We have 4 Battle Compressors. You want to get your Night Marchers into the discard pile as quickly as possible. 4 Battle Compressor allows you to accomplish that. We have 4 Acrobike. 4 Acrobike is to, you know, to thin out your deck first turn, because Seismitoad EX and Giratina EX are so big now that you want to guarantee that you have 8 to 9 Night Marchers in the discard pile so that you can hit those 160s, 180s, 200s against some of these things throughout the rest of the game, and you don't have to worry about getting Quaking Punched and then losing because of it. So 4 Acrobikes allows you to thin out your deck, get those Night Marchers into your discard pile, and not have to worry for the rest of the game. We have 4 Ultra Balls, standard. We have 4 Trainer's Mail. Trainer's Mail is pretty much as important as Acrobike, and its uses are almost exactly the same. Thin out your deck, find your Ultra Balls, find your Battle Compressors, find your VS Seekers turn 1. 2 Muscle Band, because sometimes Night Marchers are prized. You can only hit 160, so you drop a Muscle Band, you can hit 180. Against Manectric EX, you need to have 11 Night Marchers in the discard pile to hit 220 to one-shot Mega Manectric. Hey guys, sorry, the GoPro died. Alright, so we're back. So yeah, so Muscle Band, it pretty much helps so that you can preserve your Night Marchers, keep them out of the discard pile, and get that extra 20 that you need, because it's so hard, you know, to have extra Night Marchers to attack with as the game progresses. We have 2 Revives. Revive is to maybe Battle Compressor away Latios EX, Hawlucha, or an attacker, and then get it back instantly instead of Ultra Balling. Revive is for late game to get back a Joltik if that was your last Night Marcher. Revive is just an important card in this deck. We have one switch and one escape rope, pretty standard for this deck because 2 switching cards is extremely necessary to get Latios or Shaman out of there if Hawlucha is knocked out or something like that. Also, if you're playing against like Aegis/EX or something like that, you can just escape rope, get it out of there, and attack something else. Next, we have 3 Dimensions Valley. Dimension Valley is so that Pumpkaboo can use Night March with a double colorless energy attached. So that's an important card. It's also your counter stadium against Silent Lab, against Skyfield, so on. So let's get into the energies now. Pretty simple, just 4 double colorless. Because you want to use them to their full extent. If you ever run out of double colorless, you have Bunnelby and 3 psychic energies. At Worlds, people were running Night March with 3 lightning energy, but now you want to run psychic because of fast read. You could potentially run fighting for Hawlucha. And take out the psychics, or you could run lightning, so you could use Gnaw against other Joltiks, but it's pretty much all the same thing. So there you have it. That's Night March. Please leave some feedback. Let us know how you feel about the list. Let us know about decks you'd like us to profile in the future. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.